I would just like to thank Monkfox for organizing this wonderful session or webinar on placement strategies and how the current placement market is and how it is going to move forward in this session and in the next 2 to 3 years. So the topic of the webinar is Future of Recruiting, Top Technology Trends to Watch Out in 2017. So how colleges, how teachers, head of departments, placement coordinators, principals, and how a college top management can actually approach the whole idea of placement in the coming years. We have been hearing a lot of news. So this webinar will particularly try to highlight some of those points and what are the technologies you should focus right now to increase your placement, to attract better companies, motivate your students to perform better. Okay, let us first see some of the outgoing trends of placement in the technology sector. You might have seen that a lot of this buzz around that the hiring is going to go down is in the news. So first of all, in the coming years, I think, I don't know if you have heard of or not, TCS and Tech Mahindra have already stopped bulk hiring. So since last year, they hire typically 20,000 to 25,000 or 30,000 students, fresh engineering students every year. But from this year, at least TCS and Tech Mahindra have backed out of hiring. Bulk hiring, in fact, they'll be hiring, but in very selected portions. So the reason for this bulk hiring going down is basically automation and robotics. So a lot of processes in these companies have been automated. And the second one is fears related to H-1B visa issues. So because of the recent change in the US administration, they're having on that lesser Indians should be allowed to go abroad and take jobs which the Americans are actually doing. So these are the two primary reasons because of which the hiring is going to go down drastically. Recently, there was a news where Cognizant or CTS had fired off 6,000 of its employees in India. So hiring sector or recruitment is right now in a bit of shackles. It is going to go down, and students will have to differentiate their resume from others. Self-done projects, newly learned skills is the only way to do that. So previously what used to happen is all the fresher resumes or students who are sitting for placement, their resumes would look the same. And the companies generally, since their hiring demands were high, they just used to select students based on aptitude, communication skill and stuff. Now it's going to be over. So the students' resumes have to be differentiated. A student who has done projects on his own, who has learned on his own or through some source, that way if the student's resume actually stands out, he will have a good chance of getting placed. So common resumes, people who have not done anything in their 4 years of engineering, they will have a tough time. Depth in any one technology and top level knowledge of overall trends will be a must. So a student must have a depth in one technology. So for example, a student who has started working in Android should have developed at least a couple of projects on Android, and he should have a broad understanding of what big data is, what cloud computing is, what are the basic operating systems, fundamentals, and other things. So just by doing Android, he cannot say that I don't know what the other technologies are. So having depth in one technology and top level knowledge of a must. Soft skills is a must, but just them won't get you selected. So communication is very important. Having a good aptitude skill is very important. But considering last year's placement trends, some of the students got selected just because they had a good communication skill and they had a good aptitude. But now that won't happen. You need to have a technology edge. It's a must to have soft skill, but not sufficient. Students who can learn and adapt to change will be preferred. So one of the things which company will look out for are quick learners. The way and the pace at which the technology is changing, even an industry or a company is not sure of how quickly they will have to navigate from their old technology practices to the new technology practices. They need students who can switch and learn faster. So for example, today, if a student is working probably on Android by using Android Studio, and the technology is going to shift towards Eclipse, so the students should be quick enough to learn that and adapt to the Eclipse standard of Android very quickly. So adapting is very important. Another important thing is, though the bulk hiring has gone down, the mass recruiters, TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Satyam, all these companies, they will stop hiring in bulks, but startup hiring will go up. So even right now, the startups are having a very good environment in the country. They are going to hire more people, and students should now aim to get into these startups rather than aiming for bulk companies. And startup hiring is going to go up in the next in this session and in coming years. So just to give you a brief stat, Infosys this year hired 5,719 people in the first 9 months. So in this financial year, from March till December or January, Infosys actually hired just 5,719 people in comparison to 17,000 people which Infosys hired last year in the same period. So you see, there is almost a 70% drop in the number of people Infosys actually hired. So this is a number which we got from one of the research firms that conducted research on hiring. Let's see what some of the biggies have to say. So IT, information technology or IT hiring is going to go down. It's going to slump. Infosys and Wipro already have said no to mass hiring. So mass hiring will not happen. If a company is coming to a college and hiring like 50, 100 students, that is not going to happen. Previously, TCS and Infosys used to go to a college and they used to hire 200, 250 students. That is not going to happen now. One of the HR managers, human resource managers of TCS clearly pointed out that I think this statement, the second statement, is actually from an Infosys HR manager who said that we are trying to see how we can improve the quality of hiring. That is something which we are working on. So improving the quality of hiring means the people who are hired, they are good. They have the knowledge of technology. They have worked on projects, and they will be quick learners. These are the kind of people the company is looking for, and that is what they will be trying. Tightening our process of recruitment to see who are the best and the brightest that we should recruit. That is a continuous process. We tighten each time. Tougher questions during interviews, performance of past students from college we shortlist these colleges. So your alumni, keep in touch with your alumni base. So your alumni who have gone to other companies like Infosys, TCS, how are they performing? That helps to build your college reputation. So it's a very good idea to form an alumni association and always connect with those students of your college who are already working in some of these companies. Their work and performance can largely impact doing in this particular year or any semester. So a good point here is connect with your alumni who are working in various companies and try to judge their performance, try to get tips from them, and try to attract more companies based on what they have done or build on their base. So first of all, there are a lot of new technologies going into the market. For example, like big data is one of the technologies. It's very much hyped. Internet of Things is another technology. Cloud computing is another technology. So when I consider these new technologies, still, if you have, say, an undergraduate student, a third-year student has a certification in big data, yes, it's an edge, obviously. If you go to a company showing that you have a big data certificate, you have done a project on big data, it's an edge. Okay. But on the same lines, big data, you cannot do big data without a good understanding of Java. So you will have to have some background of Java. And you should be good at it. So the bigger companies are still not hiring so much on these latest technologies. When I say latest technologies, I mean, if you have a certificate on big data, a very big company like Infosys or TCS will not hire you just because you have a certificate on big data. They will hire you more on fundamentals, but they are coming along. So these bigger companies will slowly, in another year or so, they will start hiring freshers with these new technologies. So these skills are very good to have. Some big companies have started, but in very small number. Wait for a couple of years to happen. So in the next couple of years, the technologies that your students are learning, be it Internet of Things, be it cloud computing, they will come into picture, and hiring in more numbers will begin on these technologies. But having said that, there are startups right now in the industry who are hiring on these technologies. So if you look at, say, data analytics, it is something which a lot of startups are hiring. Okay, a fresher having done a project or having the knowledge of our programming language and data analytics will be for any startup. A fresher having a big data project or big data certification will be a very good catch. So startups are hiring based on the projects done in these new technologies. Also, just by doing a 1 or 2 day training will not do on these technologies. It is very important that if a student has done a big data course, it is very important that he does a project on that. Without a project, the big data learning will not help him in any way. Okay, startups pay less amount, but when I say less amount, I mean some of the startups pay good salaries, some of the startups pay slightly lower salaries, but the amount of learning that the student gets while working for a startup is uncomparable. In 1 year to 2 year time, I'll just give you a sample. In 1 year time, the amount of learning a student has is equivalent to a 10 years learning that a student has in, say, Infosys or TCS or any other big company. Working for startup is a very good, if you are definitely, you need to have a technology, have some projects to get into a startup first, but once you are in, the amount of learning you have is huge. It cannot be compensated. And once you have worked for a couple of years to 2 to 3 years in a startup, your market value actually increases and you are able to command or demand much more salary in the market. Growth in startups is exponential. So if you are, say, hired at say 25,000 rupees a month right now, your salary might go up to 50,000 in another 6 months. So 100% increase. So the growth in startups is exponential depending on the kind of work you do, how the startup is performing, and various other factors. So growth in startups is exponential, which is not the case with Infosys, TCS, or any other company. Now, some of the top technology trends beyond typical, having great potential for a fresher. So having said that, the bulk hiring is going to go down. Students need to differentiate their resumes, and to differentiate their resumes, they need to pick some of the new technologies and do projects on them. Now, the next obvious question is, what are those technologies where I should, or my students should focus on? I think you must have heard almost all of these terms, and yes, absolutely, they are correct. These are some of the technologies which I'll just go through each one of them. Internet of Things, everyone has heard it. So somebody who has started working on Internet of Things right from second year and has built a couple of projects on IoT in the third year and the fourth year will have a very good insight into the space and is a good catch for companies. So hiring can be easy. Data science, data analytics. Data science, data analytics has been one of the highest paying technologies since the last 4 years. So very good catch. A student having done this will have a very good prospect in jobs for when he applies to companies. UI UX. UI is user interface. UX is user experience. So people who are able to design well, who have a sense of color, who have a sense of how a menu or a website should behave when an end user actually clicks on a menu or chats to somebody. If a student has that kind of skill, it is very, very valuable. So UI and UX is another tech. Designer. Designer is somebody who can, say, for example, posters designing or pamphlets designing or logos designing. These are kind of skills which are, again, very much in need. Designing has got altogether new meaning with the help of, because of the social media marketing these days. People put up their ads on Facebook and YouTube and other social media platforms. So people generally design those ads. So a designer has a great value these days. Big data, again, very important technology. Big data has revolutionized the way huge amounts of data is treated. So a very good catch. Somebody who has done a couple of projects on big data will be phenomenal. It will be a really great hire. Web and mobile development. So how to build websites, how to build mobile applications. It can be Android applications, iOS applications, or Windows applications. Using the existing technologies will be a very good hiring person. So for any company. DevOps. So DevOps is, I'm not sure if you have heard of it, but DevOps is development operations. This is mostly related to cloud computing. And a lot of companies are these days, they are hiring development operations people. And this is expected to go up. Security. So security is something where you make sure that your website is not hackable. You make sure that the code that is going in is not somebody cannot post any kind of attack on the website and get all the data from the website. So securing a website is another very important new technology which can help you in hiring. Digital marketing. Nevertheless, to say this is like one of the most upcoming and prominent fields right now. Huge digital marketing, huge number of experts required. This is again going to go up. Cloud computing goes with everything. So irrespective of whether you are doing IoT, data science, being a UI UX designer, big data, web and mobile development, DevOps, security, digital marketing, you need to have a sense of cloud computing, because these days everything is going on to the cloud. So all the data is being sent, stored, processed, and is being accessed on the cloud. So an understanding, whenever you pick up any of these technologies, make sure that you are interacting with the cloud. Make sure that you are using a cloud for your data interactions. Next thing is automation. So to reduce cost, 90% of the companies have adopted automation in some way or the other, and they are going to increase the number of processes they automate. So for example, in a company, I'll give you a brief example. Like in a company, there are various departments. So there is a developer, there is a tester. A lot of these testing people are set to lose their jobs, and testing hiring will go down because a lot of automated tools have come in who can automate the whole testing part. So having with the automation, a company who was able to employ 10 people now will be able to just employ one person, hand him over the automation tool, and that's all. He will be able to do the job of 10 people just because of that automation tool. So reduces the cost for companies. It's a very obvious solution for companies. So testing tools like Selenium, Telerik, Test Studio, Robotium for Android. So all these testing tools are right now the latest trends in the market, and they are being used extensively by various companies. Services like IT infrastructure will be automated. Testing and IT support department will go off. So when I say IT support department, I mean when you go to a company, the company provides you with a laptop. The laptop has Linux or Windows installed in it. So generally there is an IT support team within the company who supports the developers and the testers. So this whole IT support team will go off because the installation, software installation and everything for the internal employees will be automated. So an employee can do it himself. So the IT support department will typically go off. So this is another data that we got from Teamlee's services, their market research. So these are the top 10 high skill IT jobs that will be in demand as automation creeps. And so even automation will actually remove a lot of jobs from the market. But there are some jobs where automation will take more than 15 to 20 years to actually creep in. And some of those technologies are okay. Let me just I think I'm getting some question here on the on the chat window. Let me just pick up one of the questions and answer. So startup hiring will go high, yes, but the people who choose to join are less. It's a myth that you can't switch to next level working at a startup. And also, we are never up for choosing a startup rather than a big company. Okay, so Sonu, do you have a question here? When you say people who choose to join are less, when you say people who choose to join, you mean to say that students are not willing to join startups? I think there is no option. First of all, if you talk about bigger companies, they are not going to hire so much. Okay, so the students want to have an option to go for a startup or not go for a startup. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do this presentation, what I'm trying to say is that there is no other option for the students to actually increase their skills and be relevant in the market. You cannot expect to be hired based on 20-year-old skill set. Even bigger companies are moving towards the latest technology trends. So the students, the colleges have to go for newer ideas, newer skill set, motivate their students, tell them that the market out there is going to be tough. They need to focus on projects, they need to focus on technology areas and technology verticals to actually be relevant in the market. I feel we are always exposed to bigger companies. Yes, yes. So you don't know I'll tell you a surprisingly new thing. I have interacted with a lot of startups here in Bangalore, Noida, Chennai, and these guys feel that they are more than happy to hire people from local colleges or from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, and the bigger problem is they don't have a direct connect with those colleges. They say that the colleges are not, their students are good, but they probably don't have the right skills. If we are able to get the right skills, I'm ready to hire. So just to answer your question, Sonu, you have to contact these startups. So for example, I'll tell you a simple example. So you say, for example, conduct a 10 to 12 day or a 15-day course on big data, in which all the students actually create a project at the end. Now, you have a lot of 60 students now who have undergone a big data training, and they have created end projects at the end of the training. Now, what you do is, there are these startups, you can contact these startups. How do you contact these startups? Because a lot of these startups post their requirements on websites like Naukri.com, Monster.com, Indeed.com. So you know that there are companies who have such requirements. You send them a mail, tell them that we have a lot of 60 students. Would you like to have a look at them? And these are some of the projects that they have made. That's a very good way to interact with them. If you wait for bigger companies to come to your colleges, ultimately it is their decision. You are resting your hiring numbers on their hands. They can choose to do whatever they want. So have I answered your question? I'll just take a pause. If anybody has any other questions which they would like to ask. Okay, I think Sonu told that she got the answer. Okay, I think Mr. Madan is he has pinged me on Hangout, and he's saying that testing and IT support will go off. And he also says that please substantiate as companies like ZenQ are specializing and offering careers in that space. So it is true right now. Yes, ZenQ is providing testing careers to a lot of people. But right now, what we are trying to discuss here is, since testing and IT support, first of all, testing will not go off completely. Testing will be replaced by automation. So the hiring in testing will drop down from 10 to 1. So there will be an 85 to 90% reduction in testing people who are being hired in testing. And a lot of these automated tools will replace those testing. ZenQ, who has a business model in testing and IT support, they will have to search for other options to train their people and put them into business. Otherwise, these will go off. I don't know if you know. For example, Infosys has a big testing team. It is overall Infosys has a big testing team, but a lot of them, first of all, are not regular right now, and this has happened in the last 1 year. When there is no demand in the market, how do you expect a person who has done a manual testing course to get hired? Even ZenQ won't be able to do it. And we are talking about overall macro trends across the country, that is across the IT sector, how the trend is going to behave. Mr. Madan, was I able to answer your question? Okay, I think Divyang is asking a question, which programs have potentials for hiring. So just, I think I've already explained some of the latest texts on which colleges can train their students on, and all these technologies should be project-based. Students should have built something. I'll just review that once again, once I'm moving forward. Okay, I'll just resume from where I left. If you have any question, just paste it on the live chat or on the Hangout, anywhere. Okay, so in the last slide, I mentioned some of the top technologies on which students in engineering colleges need to be trained, and just a 2 to 3 day training will not be suffice. Colleges need to train their students on these technologies for a longer duration, and all these technologies should have a project outcome. And even after the training has ended, the colleges should encourage students to develop projects in these technologies on their own with some help from outside. So 10 high skilled IT jobs where automation will not come into the picture. These will still remain very relevant. So web production lead. So again, when I say web production, I mean the web technologies, where you are using either PHP, Python, Cloud, or HTML, CSS, where you're actually developing front end and back end of the websites. It will be very relevant. Product designers. I talked about UX, UI in the last slide. If you look at this, so I talked about UX and UI. So designers are going to be very relevant. Data scientist cannot be automated. Very highly paying, rewarding field. Digital marketing head, again, I mentioned it in the last slide. Digital marketing, one of the upcoming, and a lot of hiring is happening in digital marketing, and it cannot be automated. Mobile product development engineers. Mobiles, either Windows, iPhone, iPad, Windows Phone, all these mobile development market will keep booming. Developers and testers in these markets will have high demands. Product developers, again, these product developers are people who have a command on any one of the languages, say for example Java, C, C++, any good command on any language, and they have done significant amount of projects on these on these languages. Actuary is basically a branch of mathematics. So actuaries, which involves statistics and probability, all these things will remain very relevant. Information security analysts. So IT security, I told you in the last slide, IT security is going to be very relevant. How to make websites more secure, how to make your data more secure is going to be, again, very relevant, and high hiring will take place. Research and development engineers, people who are doing some R&D in a particular field, publishing papers, very relevant. Quality assurance analysts. So quality assurance analysts, that means QA analysts, which is a short form of testing engineers. Manual testing will go off, but testing engineers who create plans for testing, who are able to create tools for testing, advanced tools, and use existing tools in the most effective way, it will remain very relevant even today. Let me recheck if I have any question anywhere, and then probably I will try to move on. Any questions, anybody? Please let me know if I'm moving too fast. Okay, I think Sonu has an opinion. She's saying that she has done her internship from a couple of startups, and completely she says that it's completely a yes to join a startup, because she really knows how much our work gets recognized and energy that keeps us going. Absolutely true. Okay, great, Veerbhadra. Thanks. See, Sonu, I think, see, it's all about creating your own brand. If you are saying that startup hiring has not completely taken off, I would require you, I don't know if you have heard about this body called NASSCOM. NASSCOM has said that it would create approximately 2.5 lakh jobs in the next 5 years. And NASSCOM is the industry body of all the industry association in the country. And NASSCOM also supports a lot of startups. The mood, I don't know if you have heard, I think Flipkart is going to hire approximately 10 to 15,000 people this year. So I don't see that startup hiring is going down. It is just that startup hiring is shifting its gears to newer technologies or newer opportunities. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that when you say that your friends or your family says that growth rate is less. See, if somebody says that growth rate in a startup is less, let me tell you, they have not experienced the growth rate in bigger companies. It is much lesser. Okay, you get, say, one of the best hikes that you can get probably in one of the bigger companies is say 10%, and even get a penny. Startup is first of all, in terms of learning, it's an awesome experience. And once you learn the right skills, then again you cannot sit there in the market. You have to market yourself into different startups or companies, bigger companies who are hiring for those skills. A 2-month startup experience will not do. A year or a couple of years startup experience will take you a long way in making your profile much better. Okay, that startup for which you work might get closed, but the learning will remain with you. And I have no doubt in saying that if you have been able to sustain in a startup environment for 2 years, there's no company which will not hire you on that particular skill. And again, you have to make sure that you are learning the right skill. You cannot stay in a startup, work on a age-old technology and expect yourself to be hired. So you need also pick the technology which you are working on. So the technologies which I just mentioned, these are some of the like high-tech techs. If you work on these, I'm 100% sure there is no chance that you will not get hired after. You will not get hired after working on the startup. I think so. I answered your question. I think Mr. Veerbhadra is asking any opportunities for virtual internship. So I think yes, there are a lot of ways in which virtual internships can be done. In fact, Monkfox actually specializes in doing these longer programs which are project based and industry oriented. We do programs we have multiple options to do programs where students can be given projects and they can go home, work on them, and virtually the mentor actually interacts with them, guides them on how to do it, how to move forward, and how to finish the project by the end of. And this is mostly since students have time during the summer vacations. These virtual internships can work during the summer semesters, where during the summer vacations, where students have a good internet connection wherever they go, and they can interact with the mentor and work on their projects constantly. Mr. Veerbhadra, did I answer your question? Okay. I think there's another question from Ankita Agarwal, who's asking how to make students ready with skills for product-based companies, which are really difficult to penetrate and don't come to average college campuses for recruitment. So the question is on how to increase your hiring in product-based companies. Ankita, in my presentation, in the next few slides, you'll find the answer to your question. So just wait for a couple of more minutes. Your answer is on the way. Okay, so let us resume the presentation. So now with these last two slides, you know what are the technologies you can train your students on, what is help you or what will give you an edge in hiring right now. Now let us come to some of the skills. When you are approaching a company, when a company comes to a campus, you need your students to be ready. And for them to be ready, it's not a last minute preparation. You need to focus on certain things over the last 4 years. You need to constantly enhance certain kind of skills right from first year, which actually pay off in the final year. So basics are non-negotiable. When I say basics, like fundamentals. So for IT hiring, fundamentals like operating system, data structure, having a basic and having a good command on C language, these are some things which are basics. If you cannot expect to learn big data and not know a word of C, there is no point in doing that. You have to go on and touch the basics. Strong communication skill is a must. I think right now a lot of colleges do soft skill training for students in the final year. I think it's very important that the soft skills are improved right from first year, and there are concrete steps taken by college in all the 4 years to actually improve the communication skills. Communication skills, there is no substitute, absolutely a must. Basic to advanced Excel for everyone. Now Excel is something which first of all makes you very employable. Okay, Excel is used like almost in every company, and it is used for medium to advanced level operations. So a very good knowledge of Excel can go a long way. I understand that it's a very fundamental skill, but still very much in demand. For specifically, and all these things, basics, the first 3 points, what I said, the basics, strong communication skill and advanced Excel skill, this is for all the departments, irrespective of which branch you are, irrespective of what domain you have your expertise. I think these 3 things must know them. For CS and IT graduates specifically, be an awesome coder in any one language. So pick up any language. It can be C, I don't mind. It can be Java, it can be C++. Preferably pick a language which has object-oriented approach in them. So preferably C++, Java, Python, anything, any one thing you pick, and be an awesome coder. So when I say awesome coder, you should have like more than 600 programs you should have made in a year. That's what an awesome coder means. So you should be an awesome coder in any one language. Don't try to learn 10 different languages and not be good in any one of them. Simple to complicated data structure and algo problem. So Ankita, your question actually comes here. So when you're trying to attract product companies, let me tell you, product companies focus on your aptitude and your ability to solve problems by using fundamentals of computer science. So any product company, for example, Amazon offers a package of 15 lakhs per annum, and what they ask is in an interview is data structure and algorithm problems, along with operating system fundamental concepts, networking. That's what they ask. They don't ask big data. They don't ask IoT. So if you go for big product companies, the same is the case with Microsoft. The same is the case with Google. So when you are, if a student or a college is aiming for bigger companies, and mind it is possible. I have seen colleges who have trained their students on data structure and algorithms, have given them a course on operating systems, network, and object-oriented programming, which is an advanced course, much more than what you do in the class. Amazon has hired students from these colleges, which I think they never dreamed of getting Amazon to their campus. So colleges have done it, and they have and this is not just they have not conducted a 10-day or 15-day training for data structure, algo, or operating systems. They have done right from first year to second year. They have done these courses for their students. So it's not a last-minute patch-up job. These students need to be good coders right from scratch. Then the next point is, after you have the fundamentals in place, once you know that you have done a lot of work on the basics, pick any one of the technologies. It can be mobile development, any one of the technologies which I told in the last couple of slides, which attract you, which interest you, and then you develop your projects on those techs. Now this completes your profile. So this slide is very important because it helps you first of all target the product companies. It helps you with fundamentals in all possible ways. So the hiring, when you send a mail to a startup or a big company saying that I have 60 students who are proficient in for these fundamentals and who have done training, project-based training on these technologies, I'm pretty sure more than 50% of the companies will respond in a positive that, yeah, okay, let us try and give it a shot. But don't send bulk mails, so otherwise you will end up pissing the company. So once you are confident that your students are good enough, you have followed the protocol, send out the mail and try to get those companies to try your student once. That's the way it is. Let me check if there's any question which I think I don't have any question here. Let me see the Hangout if I have a question. Okay. Can I have a word with everybody? Is the pace going fast? Okay. Are you able to get the point? Or is everybody on? Is everybody able to follow the presentation? Just a ping on chat will do. Okay, Mr. Abhay says yes, it's fine. Okay, Madhuri says it's the pace is okay. Okay, fine. Please ping your questions. Please ping your questions in the Hangout area or on the chat, and I will try to answer them in the given stipulated time. Okay. Let us move on to what is the approach to enhance the hiring ratio in core technology companies. So when I talk about core technology companies, how can colleges or students can approach this whole hiring problem? Okay, how can they become more hireable? First of all, there is no shortcut. Try and understand there is no shortcut. If you think that doing a soft skill training or a 2-day, 3-day workshop in the last year or third year for a student will make your students more hireable, this could have hired in the last few years, but now it will not happen. They really need to have the knowledge of it, and this must start right from first year. Okay, so there's no shortcut. First of all, improve quality of students, no other option now. HRs of TCS, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Cognizant, everybody has clearly stated in the media that there is no substitute to genuinely improving the quality of student. There is absolutely no substitute. So this is not what I am saying. This is what the biggies, the so-called biggies of the Indian IT sector are saying. So focus right from first year to to increase the quality of students. Training needs to start right from first year. Soft skill, communication, aptitude, basic C training, technology trainings need to start right from first year. Students should be made to code extensively in any one or two languages throughout the first year to fourth year. So coding is very, very important. It is non-negotiable. I have seen a lot of computer science and IT students who cannot write a block of code without looking at the internet. That will not make you hireable, trust me. Okay, so especially for CS, IT, IS branches, students right from first year they should start writing code. Okay, there are various websites to help you that actually. HackerRank, HackerRank, Geek for Geeks. These are the websites where you can go start with a very simple problem, improve upon it as you are moving forward. Check what are the other coders across the world doing, where do you stand. Doing it constantly for 1 year or 2 years will make you a good coder. You cannot be made a good coder in 15 days. Okay, so trying some of these websites like Geek for Geeks, HackerRank, HackerEarth, CodeChef, a lot of these websites are there. Pick any one of them. Pick any one language you like. Pick up C, but start coding. Very, very important. Start it right from first year. 2 to 3 days workshop will not make any difference. These shorter workshops may introduce the student to the technology, but they will not make any difference because there is no end product or end project attached to it. If a 2 to 3 day workshop is able to develop projects by the students, it's great. But that is not possible because 2 to 3 days is very less time to for any trainer or for any teacher or any class to actually get the projects developed by the students. So longer programs will be more useful. Utilize summer breaks, first year, second year, third year, fourth year for all branches. Utilize the summer breaks to give these longer trainings and project-based trainings which are more effective. 2-week longer technology programs based on project-based are a must to complement the learning. So project-based programs are best to complement the learning. Longer programs where students get to build something on their own, they are very much necessary. Okay, somebody asked me how to get students interested in coding. I think computer science and IS, it's like breathing air, so you cannot avoid coding. So the teachers or the management, how do they keep the students interested in coding, as it is the fundamental of hiring? Start early. There is a software called Scratch, developed by MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You can use that to develop logic in coding. So if your student in first year, if you give them an exposure to Scratch instead of C or any other language, they'll be able to develop the logic of how to code and how to approach, and they will develop the interest of coding. Log in into HackerRank, CodeChef right from first year. Code according to your level, but regularly. So being an awesome coder, it takes 2 years. It takes 1 year or 2 years of continuous regular practice to be an awesome coder. Log in into these websites, log into HackerRank, CodeChef, and all these websites. And even if you are not moving fast, keep moving, because different students have different levels. Some students might solve easy problems quickly, and they might take time on harder problems. But some students might take time to solve easy problems, but once they pick up very fast. So let the students take their time. Let them solve, say, for a month. Let them solve the easy level problems on HackerRank or CodeChef. Let them, but do it regularly. Doing it regularly. The professors or the teachers can take a status quo of what are the different problems a student solved in the last week. So keeping a track of this will really help, and probably if it is possible, give them grades. And since HackerRank provides different ranks, it clearly tells you whether your solution is correct or not. You can just log in into their platform and you can see whether the student has done these problems or not. So if you can provide them grades or some marks or some percentage of marks based on this coding, it will really help them motivate. Learn how to contribute to any open source projects like Mozilla Linux. There are many open source projects across the world. Android is one of them, Mozilla is one of them, Linux is another one. So these are open source because developers can contribute. Anyone across the world who thinks that he can write a very small chunk of code in Linux can go ahead and do it. You can contribute, and once you contribute, you get to interact with developers, testers, product designers across the world, and there is no bar, there is no age limit, there is no qualification which is required. You can just go there and check out the code. You can just develop and write some code and push it in. So try to contribute to any open source project. It will give you great insights on how a project or a bigger company works. Okay. Call great coders to the campus and let the students meet them. There are people. I'm sure you will get some contacts of people who have done really good coding. These might be people who have like top hacker rank. They have done very good in Google Code Chef competitions. They have cracked Amazon or Google interviews. Call them for a day and let them interact with students. It's a great opportunity for students to know how they approach the whole coding thing. How did they become better coders than the students here, and how the students can learn from them. Very frequently in your campus. I remember that in our campus there used to happen a 9 to 9 or 24-hour coding hackathon where every 3 months we used to get 5 problems. It used to start at 9 a.m. in the morning, and it used to end at 9 a.m. the next day. And the students were supposed to work 12 hours, 24 hours continuously without sleeping, and they had to submit the problems of these 5 or 6 questions to whoever was organizing. So, and the problems used to be tough, and the students used to really interact, get together in groups, try to find and give them prizes. So the group who wins or submits fastest will get some prizes. So this will really help them interact and search for newer solutions to problems. Encourage students to participate in national level coding competitions. So every year, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Chennai, these organize tech fests, and these tech fests have very good coding competitions organized. Encourage your students to take part in some of these tech fests. They will interact with a few of the best minds of the country, and they will know what is going on. They will know a lot about the external world, how good people are there out in the market, and they will work harder towards it. So encouraging students to participate in this competition is a very good source of motivation, and which teachers can get. I think more or less I have shared this. So just a few more points which I have not covered. What students can do to get hired. So in the last slide, I was more focusing on what the perception of professors or teachers or management should be to motivate the students for coding. Now here, if students ask you how they can how can they be hired, or what they can do to get hired, some of the things which you as a teacher or a management you can tell to those students is, one thing is speak a language and code extensively on it. I've already covered that in the last slide. Be on coding platforms. This also I've covered. So tell them to be on these coding platforms. Be on professional platforms like LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has become like one of the most prominent sources of hiring in the recent times. Ask students to build a professional LinkedIn profile in which they clearly mention what are the projects they have done, what are the technologies they are proficient on. If you maintain a good profile or a LinkedIn profile, you are bound to get some hiring requests from various companies. So maintain a good LinkedIn profile by students, because it has become very important. Research the company. A student can send mails to startups or companies in which he plans to get hired on a particular technology. To do that, he can do certain research on various kinds of. So probably say, for example, a student has done a project on big data. He has some certification on big data, and he wants to join a startup who's working on big data. So first thing he should do is, first he should filter out the startups who are hiring on big data. Do some research on the company, on what the kind of product they are making, what is they are bidding, what is their revenue, whatever data you can get. Then send them a mail saying that I really loved, the student himself can send them the company's HR or CEO a mail, or the CTO, the Chief Technical Officer. You can send them a mail saying that, yeah, I've done projects on big data on these various techs. Can you have a look at this resume, and I would be very happy to work with you. Let me know if we can have a call. So a small mail describing what your project, describing that you are willing to work on for the company, and the CTO also knows that you have done some background research on the company. So you are just not talking casually. You are a very serious student. You have done your background research. You have knowledge. So he'll be more than willing to talk to you. Don't spam them. Otherwise, it will be a very bad name to the college and to you as well. Do a background check and then go ahead and send them. And all this information is available on the internet. So there is nothing anybody can help you out with this. Okay, let me just check if there are any questions on any platforms. Okay. Okay, let me move forward. I don't see any questions. Okay. Now, students on this LinkedIn platform can actually follow. So again, I'm very much focusing on technology. So if you are a big data guy, follow people who are working on big data. Follow, when I say follow, I mean on social platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook. Interact with these guys, take help from these guys, and they'll be more than willing to respond. If you do not spam them and they feel that you are genuinely interested in the technology that you're working and you are require help, they will help you out. But don't spam them. Right in the first, don't ping on LinkedIn and say that, sir, I want a job, can I get a job? Don't do that. Take help from them. Ask them some of the projects which they can do in their college. Okay. So if you follow these guys on LinkedIn, it also helps you build a better network and you get into the eyes of these people. Share with them your ranks profiles on online coding platforms with tech people working in those companies. So HackerRank, CodeChef, a lot of these webs, HackerEarth, provide your rankings across weeks, days. How have you performed? So you share these profiles with the people you are interacting. Tell them that this is my general rank on these platforms. I tend to code. I'm good at this, and this helps you build a better connect. They are able to visualize that yes, you are a good hire. You can be a good hire. You are a good person who has worked on technology, who loves tech, and he can add value to the organization. Students need to understand that for the first 3 years of your career, when you come out of college and join a company, I advise this to almost every fresher out of college, that do not focus on money. I think the money has to be, for the first 3 years out of your college, focus on learning. Focus on what technology trends are going to be prominent in the next 5 years. And money should be sufficient for you to sustain. Obviously, I'm not saying don't go and work for free for anybody. All I'm saying is you don't start asking 50,000, 60,000. I will do a job which say gives me a salary of 60,000. I just want to do that. No, I think the first 3 years are very crucial, and they will, upon that you will build those are the foundations of your professional life. Upon that you will build your future career. So in the first 3 years, if you focus on learning the right technologies, work with the right people, your pace of growth after 3 years will be exponential than your peers and counterparts. And that I have seen that happen consistently without fail. I have experiences where where students have, generally students tend to fall in the peer pressure. They tend to see that some of their friend is getting a 40,000 in another company and they are being paid like 20,000 a month. They should go ahead and switch. These are short-term gains. Okay, if you are focused on learning for the first 3 years, focus on learning. Don't try to go here and there. Work hard. Focus on the right technologies. And after 3 years, the kind of salary which you can demand in the market will not be equal to, and none of your friends will be able to demand that kind of package or that kind of standard. Okay, so just an advice to students: short-term gains. Think long, think broad. Think your career in terms of 5 years, 6 years. That's how you should build. I don't know if I have time. I've already crossed the limit. If you have any questions, just shoot at me. I will try to answer them because I think I've already crossed my limit of time, and I'm sort of done with the presentation. So, if you have any questions? says no questions. Anyone else who wants who has a question? Ankita, was your question answered? Okay. I guess. Okay. Just to add, I think we are done. If I don't see any questions. I hope the session was helpful to you. So we have Monkfox has actually launched a placement corner. It provides free videos for students who can come and subscribe to the channel. So please encourage your students to subscribe to the Monkfox channel. There is no cost to the content. Everything is free of cost, so please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll be sharing a lot of these webinars for students, for faculty in coming days, which will be very helpful in colleges and students to increase their hiring process. So ask everyone, I request everyone to please subscribe to this channel, and I think okay, I think Ankita has another question which says that any specific training for students to get placed immediately. I would suggest that all the technologies which I mentioned, I think if you do a training on big data, IoT, testing, Android, iOS application development, data analyst, I think if you are able to do these, some of these, if you are able to conduct these trainings in your campus, I think there's a good chance that you will be able to attract better companies and get better placements. Yes, specifically for 7th and 8th SEM, yes, these are the technologies I'm saying. So a 10 to 12 days course on, say, big data, or 10 to 12 days course on Android or data science or IoT, it will be a very good, these will be very good technologies for them to get hired. Ankita, did I answer your question? Any tips for clearing? Okay, once again, I think I got a question. Okay, Madhuri asked any tips to clear the telephonic round. Okay, one of the tips to clear the telephonic round is do not try to open a laptop in front of you and try to search for the answer which the interviewer is asking, because you don't realize that, but the interviewer clearly knows, he understands that you are doing and searching for an answer on Google. So please don't do that. And Madhuri, if there is any specific technology which you are asking, is there any technology which you are specifically asking? Okay, just to say, tell Ankita, in case anyone wants to interact with us, please send us a mail. We would love to interact with the students or colleges, and if there is anything which we can help them with to increase their placements this year and in the coming few years, we would love to do that. So just send us a mail at info@monkfox. I think everyone has the mail ID because we send them a mail from that. So you can send us a mail, and we'll respond to that. Madhuri, did I answer your question? Speak about technologies. Okay, so I think a better hack would be you can put your friend close to you who can be sitting in the same room, and you can ask them to actually search if you do not find an answer. Don't do it for yourself. Try not doing it for yourself. Don't try to search yourself on, take a laptop and try to search the answer which somebody is asking on the telephone, because they clearly can tell. Impression actually on the interviewer. telephonic rounds, Madhuri, one more thing, telephonic rounds, they don't ask very tough questions. They are very focused on fundamentals. So they will just try to see that whether you are good enough to be called for an interview or not. So not much, they cannot ask you to code on a telephone. So you must have the information primarily. And if you have seen, if you have studied interview questions asked by that particular company recently, you will figure that out. And they will not be very tough. Interview questions, telephonic round interview questions are not very tough. Madhuri, was I able to answer your question? Okay. Uh, okay, I think Sheetal says the session was informative. Thank you, Sheetal. Okay, I think that's it from our side. Thank you very much for joining the webinar. We'll keep conducting many more such webinars in days to come. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a great day. Bye-bye.